So tonight, the guides will be answering your questions about your first contact when you weren't sure it was them. This was published today in Linda's weekly Guided Insights. As I'm reading parts of the insight, listen to the messages you will be getting. Feel what that feels like. Write your realizations into part 3 of my guided journey, because it's all guidance coming through, you guys. After I finish reading today's insight, we will be taking your questions and comments. You will get to talk directly to your guides about what this insight means in your life. To do this, type your question or comment in the Q&A box located at the bottom of this Zoom page about what this insight triggered in you. And Ray will open the mic so you can talk to us and your guides. So today, the insight, I'm just going to read a little part of it, is it's first contact when you weren't sure it was them. Did you ever get the feeling someone was watching you? When you were small, you thought it might have been your parents, so you went looking to see where they were. Could they see you? Were they listening, or were they watching you? What is it you were planning on doing that made you so uncomfortable? When you got older, you could feel when someone was watching you, but you didn't know who it was. Nobody was around you. You could have been anywhere in public or at home alone and got the feeling that someone was watching you. Did you feel paranoid, or did you wonder who that was? As you progressed spiritually, these thoughts and feelings of being watched took on a new role. You've heard about spirit guides or angels watching over people and helping them when they were in need. But what if these spirit guides are always around you and not only watching you, but waiting for you to be ready to speak to them? All right, you guys, so that's what we're talking about today. And I'm pretty sure you all read it. Veronica, that was a great post, a great comment you left on this post today.
Right.
And I think that's true with everybody. I think, did you guys see Veronica's comment?
No.
Oh, okay. Anyway, it has to do with being able to break the stranglehold the ego has on us, all right? So we're trying to really get it together where we hear the guidance, we connect with it, just like the guides told me that we needed to do these little quick sessions on Saturdays so people could get the answers they needed now. And then we did it, and it sold out. I mean, we could have argued with it and said, nah, we'll get to it later or whatever. And they were really pretty strong about the people need the answers now. And so that's what we did. We went right to work on it. And even though there were a few little settings off, we still went with it, and we said, well, you always scrape your knees up a little bit and your elbows, as you go through your learning curve. But we got the bugs out of it, and you guys probably didn't even notice it. But anyway, we got it worked out. But people right now, this thing with the guides and stuff, and you have these doubts come in, and it interrupts that connection to your guides, where it could actually come through. It's one of those things. It's something that you're in a learning curve right now. You're working through it, and you'll get there. You just keep focused on it. You keep doing the writing. You keep sitting with your guides. You do that kind of thing, and pretty soon, this starts to become what I would call normal. When that happens, then you no longer go into this doubt. You're no longer overweighted in this world. And it keeps snuffing it out,
What I thought was...
Let him talk.
Okay.
Go ahead, you guys.
Yeah, no, that's true. And reading the insight today helped me reflect on how it happens for me to doubt the guidance, because there's this logical mind that you're so conditioned with, and that's how you've functioned, and you've relied on that so much, and it's been ingrained so much that there's almost like an argument inside of your own head about, no, you should do this thing. And
so here's a question for you, Veronica.
Yeah.
Until you started working, coming on Tuesdays and really getting into this and Thursdays, did you think about it that much?
Think about guidance?
About how your ego gets in the way of it?
Oh, no.
Okay, so you're just beginning. It's like a flashlight. Boom. It's now a flashlight spotting, identifying it. There it is, Veronica.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my God, how do I stop this? I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
That's a natural reaction. All right.
Right. Yes.
It's almost like, that saying, ignorance is bliss.
Yeah.
That's where you were before.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now you're waking up and when you first feel it, it's a painful feeling. It's like, yay,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But it is, I do see your point, which is it's really valuable to see it. And it's part of the process to see it more fully, because then you can go, okay, that's just something I can observe. It doesn't have to run my life.
Right. In other words, instead of in the past, what it's always done is it did run your life.
Yeah.
You didn't even know there was a switch there to turn or to cool things down. You dimmer switch. Exactly. You didn't know it was there, but it's always been there. And so you just have to. That's why the way that you gang up on this ego that's been so dominant in your lives is you do the writing. You have that 15 minutes with your guides or more every day, and you have to take over and just say, in the ego, as long as the ego knows that you're not going to get hurt and that you're going to be okay, mm-hmm. it will. You can get it to sit to the side, because you never throw your ego out. I mean, there's a reason your ego's there, but it's out of control,
Yeah.
Yeah. Joy.
Yeah.
So, Joy, what did you get from the session today?
Oh, well, I'm with Veronica, and when I looked back before I started this work, I didn't recognize that they were there helping me. Either I just thought I was really lucky, or things just worked out. And now I know that there's a whole lot more going on than me just figuring it out and being so smart sometimes. And I was doing a lot of self-sabotage too, letting fear, my ego and fear, back me into decisions I knew weren't right, but logically they sounded right.
Yeah, logically they sounded right. So Veronica and you that's very similar to what Veronica was talking about in her comment. Yeah. And when I take myself in the how it works part of this event or of this insight, I talked about chapter 1, in Guided, and how I knew someone was there. I didn't know what it was, but I First Contact is the first chapter of Guided. And that's when I felt like something was going on, and I could feel it in the periphery, like it was in the energy. It was hanging in the air is the best way I could describe it as before I was 20 months old, all right? And they were showing me all this stuff, and I was overwhelmed with, what? What's this supposed to be? What does this mean? I was still real small enough and early from the other side yet that I asked the right questions in my mind, like, what do you want me to know? I didn't think that it was just a dream or, just pushed it away. I was still so fresh from the other side. I knew that something more was going on when it came to me so young. So even as a little tiny kid, like a toddler, I knew, like you guys know, something was going on, but I didn't have the strength of the ego to interrupt it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I was in chapter 2, when things got really hairy in my life, the access was just like that. They were priming the pump in chapter 1, so that when that came down in chapter 2, I was aware of it. I was open to it, and they knew they could reach me. That's interesting. So I'm just saying to you guys that it's a process where you start out with this thing where you can feel this energy, or you know something's going on, and the way that you used to feel about it or think about it, you thought it was you. Like you said, Joy, you thought maybe you just got lucky, kind of thing. And or it was a coincidence, or we just write it off to those things. But it's that you'll get over that. You'll move through that. It's been, like Veronica said, it's been a real strong influence in your lives, to kind of just blow it off.
Yeah.
So it just shows you. And when you see it, when you become aware of it, and you realize how you blocked it, and you've been trained to block it, all right? It's not your fault that you've been trained to do that. It feels a bunch of feelings. It's like some people feel an instant panic, like, I need this connection back. I can't do this. Or somebody will feel like they'll feel panic because they know they've been missing it for so long, Yeah. They'll feel different things, but it all has to do with this urgency. Once you realize it, it's an urgency where you are no longer happy with just not knowing, all right? Because you do know, you feel it, and you're working with it, and there's the evidence right there in your journal. There it is. It doesn't lie. You wrote it in there. It's the truth. You dated it. It's right here. So this is another way that you gang up on it. How do you like that? Gang up on it, right? So that it doesn't run your life anymore. Yeah. So go ahead, you guys.
Well, I went ahead at the end of your article. It said to ask your guides to help you recall your first contact. And they described a story that I do have some memory about. I was 3, and my mother didn't keep a good watch on me. I was always in trouble. And
Not you, Joy. No.
Yeah, I was a really rascally kid.
Well, I know that because you're a rascally adult.
Well, I guess at 3, I decided I was going to go down to the river by myself, and I took my mother's jewelry box with me, which I knew I wasn't supposed to even touch my mother's jewelry box, but I knew that she wouldn't be looking for me by the river. And so I sat on the bank, and I was looking through her jewelry, and some of the things fell into the river. And so I allowed myself to get down into the river to try to get them out, and then the current took me. And, I remember being pushed down the river a ways, and they said that they helped me get out of that situation. They put their hands out and helped me recover my footing, and but I never gave anybody any credit. I just thought, man, I was lucky because I know some of that jewelry was lost, and my mother never figured it out.
Oh man! Oh boy, that's funny. So what you did is you just assumed that you somehow became really smart.
Yeah.
And figured this all out on your own. Yeah, I know. That's where we take credit for it. And that's the part where it all goes, it gets lost, because as soon as we do that, we separate ourselves from the guidance. Now we're not one with it, all right? So we don't realize we're working in unison with this guidance, that we're co-creating our life, And until we realize that's really what's going on, you guys, I can only tell you that, I'm going to take a leap here. I can only tell you that when you just let this work for you and you just follow the guidance, your life will work. It will be better than had you planned it yourself tenfold. Okay? Some of it will even sound to you like, oh, I could never do that. Yeah, you know. So when you catch yourself doing that, write it in there so that when you miss it and you watch that opportunity go by and you go, oh my God, I did write it down and I had the information and I let it go by, you know. But now you've noticed it, all right? Now you notice it and you let it go by a few times. It's like Ray was a day trader for many years.
9 whole years of ulcers.
Yeah, and when he did day trading, he's got real good intuition, so he was pretty good at it. But you know, he studied it, he practiced it. Where was I going with that? Oh, you logged it. You had charts.
Oh yeah, I did all my own charting.
Right. So when you go about nowadays, I think that what kind of trading is it called? Speed trading? What's it called?
Yeah.
Hyper trading. It's called
cyber trading.
No, it's not. It's the fast trading. It's
program trading.
Program trading. There's no way to beat that. They beat you to start with, you know. But
by the time you thought of something, they're already moving.
Yeah, you can't use your intuition on something like that when it's such a rigged game. In fact, the guides have even told us that it's moving too fast, and they've got it. It's so rigged that you can't even think you can squeeze yourself in there and be a superstar, you know, because you got guidance. It's not guidance. It's really not. It's what you want. You need money right now, type of thing, you know. But this whole thing it takes the struggle out of your life. That's what it does. Now, in addition to taking the struggle out when you follow the guidance, life becomes fun. Imagine that. See, we've been doing this all wrong, you guys. We have. We've been missing.
You just said something that kind of was an epiphany for me. You said that we're co-creating our lives with our guides. And I guess in my brain, I was thinking they were helping me with my life, but we're one. So they're co-creating it for the benefit of all.
Absolutely. That's right. They call it the ripple effect. So when you enter into this and you are more like you were before you got here. You're no longer separate from that guidance. You're not just floundering out here in this world to fend for yourself. That's a scary thought.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, no wonder people panic. No wonder people get scared. No wonder they do the things they do. They believe this, okay? So, my heart breaks for them. It hurts me to see that. And I see why the world isn't working, because they feel stranded, you know? It's so far from that. That's why writing and doing all this and meeting with your guides every day and connecting with us when you do, it overwhelms it. It overcomes it. It pushes the ego back away. It doesn't get rid of it, but it's got to take a breath, because you have to have some birth to come out, all right? So the ego's not constantly interrupting it, you know? You guys both know what that feels like.
Yeah.
Where you question it. So, and the guides are always learning from us too. They always say that. You know, you're learning, they're pointing you in a direction that would be to your highest and best interest. But you have to walk that way because you have free will. That was your gift. Oh God. Okay, but you know, it's part of the fun, you guys. It's fun. And when you take that free will and you go, okay, now I'm going to be a co-creator with my guides, and we are going to do this. Because once I go that way, it doesn't mean I have all the answers. Once I start going that way, I'm going to need, I'm going to need to know what to do here and there on my yellow brick road, on my journey. I'm going to need to know all these things along the way. And I want it to be fun, and I want the struggle to end. Mm-hmm. And that's the only way it can happen, the only way. Otherwise, you just feel like you got lucky or you got unlucky.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Ray, what do you have there?
Well, as usual, I wrote down my observations, and one of them goes right along with Veronica's observation about when you hear guidance, and do you doubt it? Okay, is it coming from you? And if you doubt, here's what I wrote: if you doubt what you hear, that influences your commitment to that guidance. So if you get some guidance and you go, okay, and you give it some kind of half-hearted effort that doesn't work out,
Of course not.
right? It produces reinforcement of your doubt.
Right. And
See, I knew it wouldn't work.
And they talked about that in the session today. If you guys read it, they referred to that in the session today, and that's exactly right, right? It reinforces it.
Yeah, it reinforces the doubt, and you tell yourself, yeah, see, I knew it wouldn't work. But then, if you didn't get it the first time, they'll send you the same guidance again.
They do.
So the second time,
They come at you from a different angle.
what do? I mean, the first time you listen to it, yeah, okay, gave it.
Okay, stop there.
No,
This
okay.
is no.
What do?
Okay, that's it. When you get to the point that Ray just explained, you guys, what do you do? How does it feel? I want to say that first because I'm going to share with you how it feels to me. Then you'll maybe remember what that is. All right. When I get that second warning shot or guidance that of some opportunity or whatever, I just go, you know what? This is screaming at me. I am not going to miss this. There's no way. I do not care if Ray likes it or not, or if I like it or not. I know this is the truth. That's the feeling I get. But I've moved a long way, through all this from years ago. And the only time I didn't do it, and I tried to argue with that guidance, is when I didn't know what else to do. I didn't feel like I knew how to move through it. I didn't know how to move beyond it. I didn't know what to do next. And what I didn't have patience with in doing that, that's when I put on the brakes, that's when you go into a form of trust, where you go, okay, this is the guidance. I know if I do anything else, it's going to beat me up. I'm going that way, and I'm just going to part of me is going to go, okay, I'm in this. I get this. I signed up for this. I get it. And I'm going to go that way, and I know they're not going to let me flounder. I know what the information is going to come through. You guys go ahead and talk about how it feels to you.
Well, I can comment on that because I actually have a current little situation going on right now like that. And where I'm stuck is the mental thing saying, it doesn't make any sense. I don't want to do that. And I'm kind of stuck there, but I'm giving it a half. I know you didn't say half-assed follow through, Ray, but something like that. I've taken a couple of little steps, but I haven't gone all the way. So in a nutshell, what it is, I had been wondering if I should get another dog to keep Emma company and yada, yada. And one night I said, okay, I'm tired of thinking about this. Just give me a dream, yes or no, about the dog. I had a dream about a cat. But then I was like, oh my God, that was clear. And then in my working the next day on the board and whatnot, and I got, I was getting knowingness, and a song came to me, and the song was, "What's up, pussycat? Whoa, whoa, whoa." So I'm like, okay, that's like you were saying, two sides for the guidance. So I did. I took steps. I went and looked at places that had kittens and talked to people about it, and looked at cats too. But I have not gotten one yet. And I say I'm going to, but there's another thing in my mind that says, I don't want a freaking cat.
Right.
So
Okay. So that's where you are right now with this situation, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And what is your guidance? Clearly tell me what it is.
Get a cat.
Thank you. And I want to say, get the cat.
Yeah.
Do you feel the difference between the way you worded it and the way I worded it?
I said a and you said the.
What's the difference?
That
Feel
there
it.
is certainty, that there is a certain cat that I'm supposed to get, the cat versus a cat.
That's right. You are the Veronica. You are not a Veronica.
Yeah.
Do you feel it now?
Yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah.
Okay, so this is not, you're still trying to go, bleh, you know. It's just a cat, you know.
The first time I took Linda to the pound to get our first cat, she's walking up and down the aisle and doesn't know. I was over holding a really cute little orange Abyssinian mix, and I said, "This is really going to be a great cat," you know. And as Linda's coming down to see this cat, this other cat reaches out through the bars of the
As far as
of
you
the
could.
cage and grabs her around the finger and pulls her over like this.
Wow.
You know, so, you know, it's not about, you let it a little closer, Veronica, and it's not a cat, it's the cat. And so this cat, you know, if you follow the guidance, no matter how much that doesn't make sense, no matter what, okay, you do not know, you can't see the whole thing, you know.
I know.
We're gonna have to be best buddies.
And something else will happen.
Yeah.
What's new? What's new, Pussycat? What's new? It's going to bring something into your life that's new. Let's let your guides talk to you about this. This is good. I like this.
Great.
And by the way, this is what Ray and I do. We get guidance, and I go, Ray, you know, I got this guidance. Let's sit with the guides for a minute. This is what we do, all right?
Great.
A kitten will bring a new level of energy to the home. And the dog will brighten up every time it sees the cat. They will become inseparable.
And what about Veronica?
Veronica will realize that cats are pretty cool.
I know, but what is this? What's new, Pussycat?
It's a new energy. It's the feline, female energy coming in to balance out the canine energy.
Oh, that's interesting. Now, you understand, I don't know if you know about this, but you know that canine dogs are masculine energy, right?
Most of the time,
You know that, right?
even if they're females.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do know that on a deep level. Nobody's ever said it to me before, but yeah, I do know that.
And cats are female energy.
Right.
Okay, so you're overweighted, the ego, the doubt, all this stuff gets and interrupts your ability to connect.
Yeah.
The masculine energy, that's what that energy is. So you're overweighted in that kind of, you know, energy. So they're bringing this in to smooth it out.
Great.
That's going to bring in some new things, Pussycat. All right.
All right.
So it's good. It's going to let you be a little softer, too. All right.
Good.
That's cool. I like that, Veronica. That is, by the way, that's a bullseye.
It is a bullseye.
Yeah, that's it. And Joy, your response.
Well, I see where Veronica may not have gotten it the first time. Well, she dreamed about a cat. Well, I think they want me to have a cat. Well, you know, it wasn't until she got the second hit she really understood. I think where we're kind of at now, you know, we don't understand everything.
Yeah.
Now I do try to follow everything immediately when they tell me, because sometimes I have some doubts too, but I'm like, oh, well, I'm going to listen to them anyway, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's right. And the guides, when they come, like Ray was saying earlier, when they come through the first time, they come through kind of subtle, all right? Not all the time, but usually. And the next time they come through, if you didn't quite connect with it or you weren't really, listening, you didn't get it, you weren't there yet, you were still pushing it away. What they do is they come through with a double whammy. Okay, the cat and the song.
Yeah.
Okay, so they keep trying to reach you from a different angle. And Joy, in response to yours, I don't want to forget this. When you're using your journal in part 3, my guide in my journal writing, you write down whatever that was, a dream or an insight or that feeling Veronica got, where she got the information, and then she asked in a dream for them to tell her, what the heck are you talking about here? And you write it down, and then the next one is you write about how it felt and then what you realized. And here's the kicker. What action did you take? How did you apply it to your life? That when you get to that point, that's number 6. That's the final one on each one of these journaling pages. When you master taking the action, like Ray and I'm not trying to, push something here that we do naturally. Believe me, it wasn't natural for him. It took him years. I talk about it in Guided. It cost us a lot of money while he was stalling out. And I couldn't push him. If I did, I wouldn't have a partner. I just have a husband. I wouldn't have someone that took orders from me. That's not a relationship.
Where do you find one of those husbands you can order around?
You want one of them?
No.
I can't even have a private thought because she knows what I'm thinking all the time.
Well, you do. Right? You know that too.
This is interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
Let's go back to the first time you got the guidance about the cat. All right, get a cat.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of put a half-hearted effort into it, and it didn't work out. See, maybe I don't want a cat. And then you get the song. The second time the guidance comes through, you get the same guidance, and it comes through again.
Reinforced with a song.
Reinforced with the song, and now you have a choice. You have a choice again. You can do nothing again, or you can try harder to follow the guidance. And what happens is, if you do nothing, like you did, you didn't get a cat yet, that means you're not trusting your guidance. And if you had already gone out and gotten a cat, it shows you you're trusting your guidance.
Right. Yeah.
Instead of doubting it.
Yeah. I know.
So what it's going to feel like sometimes to you guys, it's going to feel like free falling, like you're just falling. All right, it'll feel like that.
Yeah.
Welcome to your life. Your life is supposed to feel exciting. You're supposed to be not worried about stuff like that, and not be running on fear or thinking, well, that may not be convenient for me. Remember this convenience thing?
Yes.
It's all that.
Oh my God. And this left brain thing wants to figure it all out. And
it needs a rest, Veronica. It needs a vacation. And if you just here's what's going to happen. And here's another thing why you need to work on this. In Guided, part 1. Let me get it out because I have to look at the chapter to really say this. This is really important.
Yeah.
Okay, let me go to the chapters here. Okay. I need my glasses, Okay. Okay, first contact, the merry-go-round dream. So the merry-go-round dream was priming me for what was coming next, because what was coming next in chapter 2, in chapter 2, I'm 20 months old. I'm not very old, right? Second contact, torment brings my guides into focus. If they hadn't primed the pump in chapter 1, first contact, the merry-go-round dream, even though the merry-go-round dream was disturbing to me, I wouldn't have been ready for what was coming in part 2. They were preparing me all along. So Veronica, I'm not saying that your situation is anywhere near as, I don't even know the right word for it.
Exactly.
But it was pretty intense in this case, in this case, okay? But what they're doing, and I want you guys to realize this, what they're doing is we're living in interesting times, There's a Chinese proverb that says, they say, may you live in interesting times. Okay, and we are living in interesting times. So you take this guidance and you follow the guidance. You breathe. You get out of your way. The ego, it's going to fight with you. You will not have as much fun at this as you will as you learn to exercise these new muscles.
Yeah.
It will interrupt your party. You go out and find that kitty cat, and it could be a whole lot more fun if this wasn't causing conflict and doubt and hesitation and everything. Okay, it would be so much more fun if you just walked into it like that child and said, let's do this, Mm-hmm. And you go into this and you don't worry about the consequences. You don't worry about the dog and the cat and is it, I don't know, whatever, just worry about, and just go into it and stop letting this run your life, because that's what's going on. It keeps coming in there and interrupting you. And now you're really noticing it. Now you see it, Yeah. So had I not been prepared in chapter 1, the merry-go-round dream, what happened in chapter 2, I may not have lived through. So you guys are learning. You're learning to take these steps and perfect it under comfortable conditions, so that, God forbid, should something come along that's really radical, you have this mastered.
Right. Oh my God, that's good.
That's what's going on. This is why the guides put us into service.
Right. Oh, okay.
They told us this. And when Ray and I met, this was not a lighthearted thing. When Ray and I met and they put this together, I had never had anything like that happen in my life. And that's when they really started pushing the book. Before that, years before, they were telling me, you're going to write a book about your relationship with us since you were a little girl. We appeared so the world could believe. They let me know that. There they let me take their photograph. It was building. I was on that yellow brick road. And then Ray shows up. And it was a game changer. And the whole thing just comes together. But you've got to be taking those steps. You've got to be trusting that guidance, and you've got to be working it. Okay.
But you fought the guidance. Well, I showed up.
I sure as hell did, right?
You did.
Yeah, I did.
You fought the guidance.
I did.
They had to come right out and tell you right over the phone.
Right. They came through the phone line and said, when I was talking to my girlfriend, and said, lose your rules. My rules were never date a married man. He's the one. Mm. And it took me 4 days. I admit that I hesitated. Because I had a nice, comfortable life going on.
Yeah.
I really didn't need an aggravation, right, you guys?
Yeah.
I just knew better. Wow, did I know better? And I didn't fight it, and it worked out better than if I had planned it myself. There, I keep saying it to you.
Right.
We're co-creating our life. We're not stranded here.
That's so good. Thank you.
All the decisions.
So quit acting like you're stranded here.
Yeah.
That's why the ego's overpowering it. It's protecting you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Great. Point well taken.
Yeah, good. How about you, Joy?
Oh, yeah. And I've had periods in my life where I feel like before, where I was here by myself trying to figure this out, and
especially under dire conditions.
Yeah.
Especially then.
Yeah.
That's not what we're supposed to do. When in chapter 15, when Mark was killed, all right? And I'm telling you, I felt like a pawn on a chessboard. I was just getting moved around, and then when everything went down, I was like, I was like a machine. Everything just went boom, boom. Everything was perfect. Perfect timing, do it now, this is what to do, save. Everything just came together fast, okay? And it was because I knew I wasn't doing this alone. I could feel it all around. I could hear it. It was palatable, and it was all there the whole time. And when I tried to walk up to the truck he was killed in, and I hit that barrier, that invisible barrier, I tried to go around it. I tried, and then I just realized, I went, oh my God, and then the guidance came through again. It was like guidance on speed dial. And I'm telling you, when you have mastered this and you have that connection and that bridge is built to your guides, when you really, really need it, it's right there.
Awesome. Awesome.
There's nothing better.
Mm-hmm. Great. Okay.
Right.
I made a little note about something I call reverse guidance. We're talking about you get the guidance and then you think maybe you do it or whatever. Reverse guidance is you get warned, but you do it anyway. You know.
We've all done that.
Sure.
Yeah, we've all done that. And then we watch it and we go, okay. But see, in your case, you didn't have a real basis of comparison like I have, okay? When I didn't follow the guidance from all the times before when I followed it, and that worked out so poorly, I was like, oh, I would not do that again. Because I always did well when I followed the guidance, okay? Mm-hmm. And the few times I got stubborn or something was going on where I was overinvested in something, and I was like, nah, you know, and didn't follow the guidance. Oh boy, did I pay a price, sometimes for years. Mm. Yeah. So it's not worth it. I know it so vividly because I know the difference. You guys aren't used to the difference. You know, you haven't seen the real payoff when you follow the guidance as a rule and then only step out of it once in a while. You're coming from the other side of it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
When I was 27 or 26, I had a newborn, and I was outside walking him in the little front pack, and it was such a pretty day. And I had right behind my head this booming male voice said, "Don't go by the front steps. There's a snake there." Well, I turn around and I look. There's nobody there. I mean, the voice was so loud. Yeah. It was like with a megaphone, you know.
Yeah.
Well, what do? I'm like, well, I got to go look at the front steps to see if there's a snake there. And there was a copperhead that had coming out of a hole underneath the steps. And of course, I thought God was talking to me, you know, because I didn't know any other source that would warn me something like that.
You could call it God or your guides or your angels or whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what we call these things, okay? Because we're brought up a certain way and we think about it and we feel connected with one of those more than the others, all right? Mm-hmm. So it's okay to call it what feels right to you, all right? It's okay.
There's a whole bunch of them. I mean, people probably get, when they're younger, if they come from a religious family, you probably learn about your guardian angel. Every religion in the world has a concept of guardian angels.
It doesn't matter.
And that's a singular person. But then you also, there's spirit guides. Well, now you have all these spirit guides, multiple spirit guides, the spirit family that you came from, that followed you here when you came here. And now you have those people, and now you have a guardian angel, and now you have a higher self. You're talking to them all the time, too.
And you have a lot more than that.
Right.
So, because you come from a spirit family, you come from a big eternal family, all right? And as you move through your eternity, because this is just a little pit stop here on the earth, throughout all of those eternities. And throughout that eternity, you're building all kinds of relationships and connections, and you are becoming more. And the ripple effect, you're one with it all, you guys. Mm-hmm. So this is Joy, you are really protected. And what they talked about, I think it's coming out in the next session, because I remember it, we channel these and they kind of blend in sometimes, is I want to say that you guys taking all this so seriously and letting this life scare you so much, you'll notice your life will go by, boom, it'll be over, and you'll look back the instant you're out of it and you'll go, well, damn, I missed it. I'm not kidding you. The instant you're released from the body, and you know you're not coming back to it, you see it all. There's no more. Right now, we're stuck in these bodies. It restricts us. It really does. And that's why another reason why we need these guides to help us. They can see what we can't see.
Yeah.
They're pretty much a lot more highly evolved than we are. I mean, several dimensions higher than we are, but they are still evolving too. And it's their job. It's their job to be of service to us, so that they can evolve.
Right.
And then when you say we become more like our guides, that's what they want.
That is. So you guys, anything that's going on here on the planet, like what you might be concerned about the cat, okay? Veronica, what I would do, and this is the kind of thing I do, right? When I get information like that, Ray and I, in Guided, I'm going to go back to it. We talk about Benny. Benny, they told us that we were going to get a brown tabby was going to come to us and make Ray a rich man. Ray's ego went right there. All right, this cat's going to make me some money. I said, Ray.
Maybe he could pick stocks.
Yeah, he did that.
He did that for a while.
Yeah, Ray made him into an icon, is what he made him into. Anyway, the point is Benny was such a sweet cat that he really was like worth his weight in gold. He did make us feel so good, and that's rich. To the guides is this thing with money is so overrated. I got to tell you, we have enough money, and so once we start to release some of that, and let us be reconnected. This is what you guys are realizing. This is what you're feeling. You're feeling a reconnection, and still the ego comes in there and goes, "Excuse me, it doesn't want. It's used to running the show." Mm-hmm. So that's why the writing and the sitting and the time alone is good, and shutting off the other stuff, so the ego doesn't jump back out there to do its job, and interrupt you. But I'll tell you, when this guidance comes through, I sit back, the kitty cat, and I just sit back and go, oh, I was going to say Benny. They came through, and what was it, 4 months later, Benny comes into our life. We had no intention of getting a cat. We looked at each other and said, no, we're not getting any more. No more animals. All right, we have one. That's okay. And here comes Benny. Yep. And he turned out to be the total gem, all right? And we didn't turn it away. We said, okay, and he had some problems. Benny had some physical problems. Who cares, He was the best little guy. And so what I'm saying to you, Veronica, is we said, nah, we're not going to get a cat. A cat, do you hear that? A cat?
Yeah.
We're not going to do that. And it's like you don't give them names, okay? Because when you do, then they're yours. So the cat has
like if you had a litter, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
But the cat has a name, all right? Yeah. A cat. So then Benny came along, and we didn't resist it. We fell in love with him immediately, all right? So we were pulled right into that direction. And so I would say that it took 4 months for Benny to actually materialize physically. I mean, he wasn't even born yet. And I would just say, okay, you've got to be okay with this. You got to say, okay, you guys win. Had that session with Ray and Linda tonight. You got me. I'm going to go with that because I know this is just a building block.
Yeah.
But I'm really going to need the guidance, and I need to start trusting you guys.
Right.
And I'm going to walk that way. Just put it in my path.
Okay.
Make it obvious, and just that's what they did with us.
Right. We said we're not going to get another cat, and then we get a phone call from some friends of ours that says, "Hey, our friend owns a organic restaurant up in was it Jerome or Cottonwood? Cottonwood. And they have this cat that hangs around the restaurant, and she had kittens, and so she took them home, and they have the kittens, and
it all works out the way it's supposed to work out. So just let yourself have that. Get out of the way of what it is and start trusting the guidance and moving that way.
Okay.
And Veronica, write it all in here.
Yeah, I will. I've written a lot already about this issue, but I will write stuff from tonight too, because
Yeah, just I'm walking that way. Just put it on my path, and I'm on my yellow brick road. Put that picture you drew,
yeah,
and I'm going to go there because I know I can't keep living my life the way I have because it doesn't feel good.
yeah. When I get the cat, I will post a picture in the group.
Do you want to see that little
yeah.
guy? We do. How sweet is that?
Yeah,
So take my advice when somebody has had more than 100 cats, okay?
yeah,
You want to get a kitten, but you want to get one that's at least 7 or 8 weeks old, because if you take them away from their mother too soon,
right,
they can have a lot of physical ailments later on.
They say that they're supposed to stay with their mommies
For 8 weeks.
Well,
2 months.
they said 12 weeks.
12 weeks?
Yeah,
Okay.
12 weeks.
Right.
Because they need the nutrition from the milk.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And even though the mom could, really be done with that sooner, because they have teeth by then, right?
Yeah.
But they really do need the nutrition. And Benny got pulled away when he was 5 weeks old because the woman didn't want the kittens in the house. And it's like,
She had like 4 dogs.
Yeah. So it was a bad situation. But try to get a healthy one if you can, because you're going to fall in love with this little guy. Yeah. Good, Veronica. Good.
And remember one thing. The only thing that's more fun than a kitten is 2 kittens.
Is he a troublemaker or what?
Yes, he is.
I know. Sometimes Ray comes to me and goes, I really miss my kittens. I said, right now we've got stuff going on. We can't do it right now, but we'll get our little animal family back at some point. We both love them so much.
Just one. I always had like 6, 8, 10 cats at a time.
Wow.
God, he had sucker written on.
Once you get past 2, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's his opinion. You had maids then, Ray. I tell you.
I had 2.
I'm no maid, okay?
Yeah. I had 2 maids. I had 2 maids and 3 litter boxes.
I know, crazy. Don't take his advice. No.
I know.
So what else, you guys? Veronica. I'm not going to ask you what, but how did you like your Saturday session with us on
mini
Eventbrite?
session, yeah.
I loved the Saturday session. Yeah.
Sounds good.
It was very, very helpful for me. Yeah.
It's surprising how much you can get done in a focused 10 minutes.
10 minutes. And you see that when we do those, there's no chit-chat. We get right into it.
Yeah.
That way you get every second you need with your guides. Just boom, dead on.
Yeah. So it was great, and it was very helpful, and I'm still processing it.
Yeah, 10 minutes. There's a lot of information that comes through in 10 minutes. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that you're going to continue doing that, because I was on the road on Saturday and knew that I'd miss it. But
all you have to do, Joy, is go to the website, the Linda Deir website. It's also on Facebook. I just put the event up tonight, and you can go. But if you go to Facebook or to the website, right there on the homepage, you'll see on the right where it says Eventbrite. Just click on it, and it'll take you there, and it'll show you the entire schedule. And you can just pick the one you want, or you can order as many as 3 of them in a chunk if you wanted more time. So you can order 1, or you can order as many as 3, and the list will be long because we put it up for 10 weeks going forward. All right.
And they're all Pacific times, remember
And if something happens where you guys need to change your time, you'll be able to do that too.
I'd switch it to a different.
do you come with a question, or do they just take off and tell you what you need to know?
Come with a question.
Yeah, come with your questions written down, but they come in and they start the session with their opening message to you, okay, about what they see as the most important thing for you to know right now, what they see under intimate conditions, because we're not on Facebook, we're not in a group like this, but now they can really talk to you in those private sessions. So that's what they're talking about, and they know people need answers now.
What was amazing was last Saturday, people came in who we never talked to before. And in that opening message,
it just knocks
the guys
down.
came through, and there was like silence at the other end of the phone, and they said, How the heck would they know that about me?
That's because they're with you all the time. They know everything about you. Okay? So these sessions go fast. They're fast and they're intense. Would you say that's true, Veronica?
Yeah, it was. It was like a really deep message for me, their opening message.
Yeah.
So,
And they answer your question. They fire the answer right off.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so very helpful.
Yeah. So just go to the website or to Facebook and you'll see Eventbrite and just click on it. It'll take you to Eventbrite and you can see where you can see the schedule and pick the one you want.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
I wrote down some more notes.
You did,
So
right?
just some things I had about the early on, about, somebody's watching you. You get this feeling when you're little, somebody's watching you. It's not a feeling of paranoia at that time.
It wasn't for you.
No, it wasn't for me. But you eventually tested them to see if they were listening too.
That's true.
Okay.
When you're real small, that's what you do.
Right. You talk to them. You talk to your invisible friends.
And why you do that is it's a natural response. See, before you came here, you're so early on in this life. That was the way you did it. It was not a new way of communicating. You knew they were there and you were waiting to communicate with them. But how do you do it here? You come in and you get that amnesia, dag nabbit. Mm-hmm. And, how do you do it? You're trying to assimilate that, and here you are, a little baby,
You got the feeling, like you said earlier, about you get the feeling somebody's watching you. Was it your parents? Are your parents watching you? Or is it your spirit guides watching you? And there's two different motivations there. If you think it's your parents watching you, you're thinking, well, I better not do that or I'll get caught.
Yeah, you're already thinking you're doing something wrong.
Or if it's your spirit, if you understand that it's your spirit guides watching you and telling you not to do something and you do it, you feel ashamed.
Let me put that together. Hold on. Let me see how that feels. Just a minute.
You're afraid that you're going to get caught by your
Don't go
parents.
anymore.
Okay.
I have to feel it. Feel that, you guys. Feel what Ray just said. See what that feels like and see what's true in you. This is how you work with the guides. Just feel what it is. I'm not arguing with you, but I'm going to say my own feelings. When I felt the guides and I didn't follow it, I got the guidance and I didn't follow it, I felt like an idiot. That's how I felt. But that's me. I was real young and I remember it when I was a little kid. And I just felt like I could have done better. Like, why would I not listen? What was I thinking?
Well, when I asked my grandson, why did you do that? And he'll always say, I don't know. I remember saying that as a kid too. You know that you're doing something wrong, but you just did it anyway. Yeah.
You don't know. When I drew those murals all over the living room walls, when I was really small, and my mom kept having to wash it off the crayons, and she said, don't do that again, and I did it again. Why did you do that again? I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I still don't know, okay? But I know that I had such a strong urge in me, I couldn't resist it. I had to do that. Yeah. Where did that come from? That's the real thing, all right? So staying on this point for a minute here, Veronica, what did you feel from what Ray said? How did it really feel to you when you were a little kid and you got the guidance and didn't follow it? And it didn't work out because you didn't follow it.
I have a lot of lost memory from when I was a little kid. And so it's been a challenge for me to even get in the answers to the questions in part 2 about, when were they the first contact and stuff. So I don't have a lot of things to compare it to from those days, but anytime that I did notice, and I know I noticed some guidance, like a presence, like the time I was on the jungle gym in the backyard, and just like,
I remember you talking about that.
for me, those times, and I think I remember another one when I was even younger with the question of this week, like it was not your parents watching. But so those awarenesses are just awarenesses. They're not like I'm doing something wrong. In any of those cases, I didn't feel like I was doing something wrong. It was just like oh my goodness, I'm aware of something else.
Something more was going on.
Something more.
Right. That's what it is, you guys. It's something more is going on than you've been allowed to pursue.
Yeah. So I just felt amazed, kind of like, wow.
Right. Exactly.
Oh,
exactly.
that's all.
That's a great feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great that you could remember it. And yours was a great feeling. So, Joy, do you have one where you remember early on?
I do not remember how I felt about anything as a little person. When I was doing this exercise today, I'm like, I don't remember feeling anything, but evidently they were there. And the only time I remember something was I was 14. It's another snake thing. Walking through the forest in Florida, and my leg wouldn't take the next step. It froze in the air, and a coral snake slithered right where my foot was supposed to land.
Wow.
And I felt like somebody did that.
Well, do you have any doubt about it?
No, I don't. I knew that somebody had done it. I didn't know who had done it, but that my leg literally did not go down, and I couldn't make it go down. I tried to make it go down.
That was very similar to that force field I hit when I couldn't go through it, and I couldn't get to the truck where Mark was killed.
Wow, you guys.
This does happen. This happens a lot, especially when they're protecting you, when they need to get you out of the way, Yeah. So in those cases, were you following guidance? No, you were stopped out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you were definitely heading for something that wasn't a part of your path. It wasn't meant to be. You weren't supposed to go down like that.
Yeah.
I've even done things where this is really, I remember, I guess it was my late 20s, and I was just feeling like, to hell with it. I just didn't care. I was like, this keeps going on and on. The things I do, I had great success. I really had great stuff going on. And still part of me was going, I know there's a better place to be than this. And I would start driving haphazardly. I did things that, I drove down a canyon one time as fast as I could. And I said, well, if you want me, you can have me. And I didn't care.
They didn't want you yet.
No, and when I hit a curve and the car couldn't handle it, it just spun. I just let the wheel go. And I just went, okay, that's what it was, Joy. I was like, it's like a free-falling thing. I guess I kind of got maybe a little cocky with it, I do not know, but I'm telling on myself, I just know that this guidance, this energy, this whole thing, it's bigger than we are. And in this life, there's nothing to be afraid of. This is not all there is. And as soon as you do that, and you have that, Veronica, the ego will just take a rest. It can't compete with that.
Right.
So this journey on your on the kitty cat, this journey is like, okay, I'm going to start moving that way because I can take this is easy compared to some of the stuff Linda's talked about. Yeah. And I can do this because I know I need the exercise. I need to perfect this so that as I move through the rest of my life, I know when you've got my back and I need to listen and I need to go this way.
Yeah.
Okay. And you too, Joy, and anybody else who's watching this.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. If you don't start practicing that, I talked about those intuitive muscles. You don't start working them, then when you need it, they won't be there. You'll still be, you won't be strong spiritually. So that's what you're doing. And it's fun. It's a lot of fun. And your life will be different than had you planned it, and better.
Yeah. It's great.
Great. Holly, what else do you have?
I was just thinking about kittens.
Oh,
He loves them. God, he does. I do too. I wish we could do that, but it's got to be lined up right. That's all. I don't know. And right now, the guides even told us, they said, not right now. So you got confirmation. In fact, okay, those kitty cats. I know you want those kitty cats, right? Get over here. Come on. How about raised kitty cats?
They are all still around.
But what about his kitty cats in this world?
Soon.
Okay, there you go. I mean, and it comes up and it seemed convenient for me. I'm just going to go, oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's just hard. If you have to travel, it's hard for your pets, regardless of whatever you have.
Yeah, you put them in a kennel and they get all kinds of stuff.
Or even if you have people come over,
I know.
walk the dog and, play with the cat and
Okay, you guys,
feed the badger.
the badger. One time we were going somewhere and we had to spend the night and we stopped at a hotel.
Pet-friendly hotel.
And what did you tell him, right? What did you ask him?
I said, you guys are pet-friendly, right? I says, we have a honey badger in the car. Is that all right to bring him in?
And it's a young girl, right?
Oh, sure. I said, he's in the cage. Yeah, carry him.
They'll tear a bear apart,
Oh my God.
I know. And we're going to do a closing message here, but I'm going to go ahead and announce next week's, okay? Tuesday next week, November 27th, watch or interact with us right here on Zoom. In Linda's Weekly Guided Insights is where you will receive the link to join us, to talk to your guides, to us, and to the group. 6 p.m. Pacific and 9 p.m. Eastern. To be published next Tuesday morning in Linda's Weekly Guided Insights, the guides will be talking about second contact, when the conversations with your spirit guides began. As a child, did people ever ask you who you were talking to? What did you tell them? How did that question make you feel? Were you surprised or thought to yourself, maybe they could hear them too? Did you feel embarrassed when you were caught talking to someone who wasn't physically there? Was it a shock to you that those who were talking were real and always around you? Did other people have these friends too? Okay, so we're going to talk about that. And that ties right into Chapter 2 of My Guided Journey, when they physically appeared all around me and saved my life. All right? So like you, Joy, when you had how old was your grandchild? Or your child, your firstborn?
oh, he was just, a few weeks old.
Okay. So they were really looking out for that for both of you, okay? But we come in with this protection, especially when we're new people. The first thing that they're going to talk about in this session for next week is how they come in and their first priority is to protect you. When you fell in that river, Joy,
Yeah.
it was just went with the program. You could almost do anything and they would have caught you.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what they did with me in part 2, in chapter 2 of Guided. They came through and the communication we had, that telepathic connection, was such an awareness and such an epiphany for me. And I was 20 months old, but believe me, there's no age restriction when you have this connection to your guides. Little babies have that connection. Okay, they came from a connection that's much stronger than the people in this world. So they came in with it. We all came in with it. All right. So we're gonna go through that and we're gonna get in there.
So easy a baby could do it.
So easy a baby did do it. You just don't remember doing it.
Yeah.
All right. We're gonna get in there and play around with that memory and you guys might be surprised what you remember.
Good.
So the guides are going to close the session tonight with their closing message on this session about, let me get this. Did it strong, Ray. Okay, I didn't write that down.
You weren't sure it was them.
First contact, when you weren't sure it was them. Okay, and here they go.
Regardless of who you think is there bringing you messages and guidance, do you treat this guidance like a trial and error situation due to your free will? If you have any doubts or preconceived outcomes in mind, this guidance may have to be sent to you several times before you get it.
And that's what they'll do. They'll come through once, they'll come through again from a different angle, and like with Veronica, they gave her 2 messages in that dream.
Third one's coming.
Well, the third one is going to be the arrival of that kitty cat. As soon as you write in your journal, Veronica, that what you've decided, okay? Because this is your choice and this is your free will, and nobody, including me, tells you what to do. But
Right.
you do what you feel ready to do, and you know, you start living your life differently. You start connecting and not being separate anymore, but connected. You know, you guys, I want you to know that the problem with the world is this lost connection.
Yeah.
And when we lost that connection, we lost the connection to each other. We lost the connection to our higher self, to ourself.
Mm-hmm.
And we wind up frightened in a world that makes us feel isolated. Of course you'd feel frightened and you'd feel isolated under those conditions. Of course you would.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's wrong, all right?
Was that the plan, though, for us to lose that connection, or was there something that happened that caused that?
Definitely. So it was we come in, okay, it's part of the plan from where you came from. You come in completely connected, only to have all the rules and regulations disconnect you, you know, we'll just word it like that, and then to find yourself again. The beauty of that is now you've got the comparison, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you have the comparison, you know the difference between the two. Like, I've known the difference between the two. You know, as hard as it was to be in that family that I grew up in as a child, I was connected. That was the beautiful part of it. And the downside was I was in this world, okay, in that family, in that dysfunction that seemed like it would never, ever end. It made being here harder under those conditions. Now, you guys have your own life. You're not under somebody's thumb, and you're not being abused, and you're not under bad conditions. So you bring this in to this world that you have, and this works. It works in my life now really, really well. It worked then, but it made this life seem harder. Yeah. Because I was living in a situation that was disturbing. And when you compare it to the bliss of that world, the world we come from, that connection, this was awful.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, that's, yeah.
Yeah.
Most people, you know, get these rules and regulations and beliefs and negative thoughts plugged into them when they're 4, 5, 6 years old, and they go off to school, and then constantly throughout your life by society until you get to that middle age part, you know, your 40s, 50s, 60s, and that's when you start wondering, there's got to be something else.
Well, you know there is.
You have the feeling, you know there's got to be something else, and that's when everybody starts asking themselves those questions: who am I really, and why am I here?
Right. Right. And, you know, it's now you guys are in a beautiful time of your life where you can get it together. And that's what you're doing. That's what you're doing. So all these guides that are around me, okay, these guides, they're there. The veil is thinner than ever, okay? You don't have to work as hard to hear them, to get that energy, to know. You can feel it. You dream your dreams, they come through. They give you direction. They give you instruction. They tell you what's going on. It's so obvious. For us not to listen at this point, no. You guys are going to do this. You're going to be able to pull through this and get on the other side of it, and then pull it all together.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. It's bringing them together. It's not just here. It's not just there. It used to be like that. Years ago, people thought they had to pick one side or the other. They were either full blow over here and they couldn't think in this world. They were lame in this world. Or they were all in over here and they had completely shut this off. So we're about bringing it together and making it, we're not dragging a leg anymore. Yeah. We're in one piece. So that's why, Joy, that's what we're after. That's what this really is. That's what we were meant to learn as a group soul in this lifetime. When the guides came to me in chapter 1 and they told me that the saddest, the most, how do they say this? The most tragic thing, the most tragic, I always want to word it exactly like they said it, like the most tragic event in our lifetimes, right here in this group soul life, okay, where we all came in as a group, will be that most people will die having lived fear-based lives. Translation, what that means is they missed their life.
Yeah.
Saddest thing.
The saddest thing. Mm-hmm. Or no, not the saddest. It was another word. The most tragic. Mm-hmm. That's the word they used.
Most tragic event of your time.
The most tragic, is that most people will have lived. That's not going to be you, and that's because people stayed over here, and it just crushed them.
Yeah.
So that's not why we're here. You guys are here, and Joy, we come in pure. We've got that connection. We move through life as it gives us all the tools later to realize how that didn't serve us. How that didn't serve us. Part 2, taking the journey. What was that? How did that not serve you? That's why I wrote this, because this is the fast track to do what I did. This is how you do it. This is the recipe in part 2, taking the journey. So if you got to go back to that little child and let that little child go back and remember that, so you can see now you're the adult. You can see it from this perspective. You're not in it. You're not, being affected by it. One-on-one, you can just see it and write it out, what that was, and resolve it. It gets you where you're going faster. You don't need this. You absolutely don't need this. It'll just take longer.
Yeah.
Ouch. I love that. The guy said that one time in a session we did. I can't remember if it was a private session or an insight, but that's what they said. They said,
that's what they said about the spoon.
Everybody's going to get it.
Yeah.
Everybody will get it. So don't worry about it. It's just that some people will take longer. Mm-hmm. And that was like, oh my God, that's like the thing you don't want to have to go through,
Well, a lot of people, they go through their life and they even know, they feel something's wrong, but they can't identify it.
Right.
They can't see that it's fixable.
Right. Like they have power over this.
Right.
Right.
They don't have the roadmap
right.
to follow, to take the first step, the first action item to move away from what it is that they hate about themselves.
Ooh.
They hate, they haven't had their I've had it day where they say, I've had it, I'm not going to allow that to happen anymore to me. I know what it is. Yeah. I believe I can fix it, and I'm going to take action moving that direction right now.
See how interesting that is? You know, Ray, his input is interesting to me because I've never hated myself, never, you know. But when I hear this, and I've heard other people say it, lots of people say it, and Ray understands what that is, okay? So no way am I taking that away from him. I mean, that's something he learned the hard way, all right? So
I think a lot of people have.
That's a rough one, and that happens, you know, and that's awful when things get that far over here, you know, we take it that far. So, boy, do we need to breathe that one out. That's
A lot of that happens because everybody you hang around with is doing the same thing.
Yeah.
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 That's yeah. So I personally can't relate to it. Again, I didn't ever hate myself, and I never worked in situations where I was under somebody's thumb.
You never had a job.
I know. I always worked for myself, so I never had that pressure on me where I would put myself through it. I would allow myself to be humiliated or tolerate that, and wind up feeling like I hated myself. That's what it is. I never experienced it, but I know when I hear Ray say it, I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I don't know everything, do I? I mean, you know, this is a big, big world, and people have suffered a lot. Too much suffering.
Next life you come in, you have to go work for a Fortune 100 company or two.
Nah. I don't know what I'll do, Ray. When people say, I'm not coming back to this life, I'm never coming back here. If you're meant to come back here, it's just like with that dream I had, and the guides, they said, it's time for you to go now, Linda. And I said, no, I'm not going. I'm not going anywhere. And they said, yeah, you are. And I found myself right back in this life. It's like I had a choice, you know.
Yeah.
You know, so we don't know if we need another lifetime or 10 or maybe 1 million. I mean, we don't know. I know. I'm not joking.
There's hope though. People always feel they're running out of time.
I know.
You know, but we have hope because this week I saw on the internet, and if it's on the internet, you know it's true, that 70 is the new 50.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that.
So we're almost 50 again.
Yeah.
That means 90 is going to be the new 70.
You know, it's true though, you guys. I mean, when we let up on ourselves from over here, and we really start integrating these things, you feel better, you look younger, you're happier. I mean, this is okay. This is what we're supposed to do. So joy, once again, we come in pure. We go through this. Wrestling with everything until we get, like Ray said, 30, 40 years old, so some people younger. And then we just realize it's time to move through that, heal that, and then we become really strong once we get back to who we are, all right, and bring it together. And then we've got something to offer the world. I really believe that.
Yeah. A little later for me, I think closer to 50.
Yeah, that's okay. It doesn't matter when. You're there. You know, when you're there, if you try to make yourself learn something like this when you're not there yet, when you're not ready yet,
Right.
it'll take you just as much time as it would have if you just let it show up when it was supposed to. Because you weren't interested in it. You're not going to learn anything there.
Yeah, I would have outright denied it as being real.
You were one of those, huh, Joy?
Yeah, absolutely.
I love it. We can look back at ourselves and really have a laugh, you guys. Once we really connect with this and we see the payoff, you know, it's a lot more fun. I keep saying more fun and no struggle.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're never alone. You are not alone in this. You are co-creating this life, whether you are conscious of it or not. You know, just your guides, could you imagine? This person is unconscious. I'm going to say just this person, whoever they are. They're unconscious that guides keep trying to, send them a message this way, hit them there in a dream. They drive into work, they try to reach them all these different ways. And this person keeps struggling and suffering. Could you imagine how the guides must feel?
Yeah.
What do I do now? I mean, they come up, they're really creative. on how to reach us, but we don't need to make their jobs so hard.
It's like the guy that was in the flood. The town was flooding.
Yeah, this is a good one.
Yeah.
You guys have probably heard this, and this is a great
It's
one.
flooding, and he gets up on his roof, and the rescue guys come by in a boat and say, "Come on, jump in the boat." He goes, "No, God's going to save me." And so the boat leaves, and a little while later, the water comes up higher, and he's all the way up at the top, and a helicopter comes over and says, "Come on!" They throw a rope down to him. He doesn't get on. He says, "No, God's gonna save me." Well, pretty soon he drowns, goes to heaven, and God says, "Well," he says to God, "Why didn't you save me?" He says, "I sent you a boat and a helicopter."
Right.
In other words, that's another reason why when you guys have a question or wonder about something, write it in here in part 3, because you'll forget that you even asked the question and miss the message when it comes.
Right? You didn't write it down.
You didn't, and you don't connect the two. See?
Right.
So it's our brain, It really does get in the way of some of that stuff. And that's a good example, what Ray said tonight. And we're going to close on that. You guys have an awesome Thanksgiving.
We'll be looking for that picture too, Veronica, of the kitten.
And we'll be there on Saturday. So
Okay.
the way you can just go to the website, you'll see it right there on the front page. And you can click there, it'll take you there. Yeah. And you too, Veronica, or whoever else is
We have
watching.
quite a few people on Facebook.
Okay, good. They can come too. So, yeah. So we'll see you guys next Tuesday.
All righty.
All right.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Bye.
Night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.